Welcome to class. I say this every month. I'm probably going to say it every month forever and ever. I'm so excited to break this down because this is such a special time of year. This is kind of that dead zone, between all of the different holidays going on where you might be trying to do your work or maybe you're taking vacation, but it's definitely a time of reflection for all of us. Here in the Arctic where I live, we haven't seen the sun since, well, supposedly the end of November, but it was so cloudy in November that, like, oh my gosh, I can't even remember the last time I saw the sun. So it's definitely that dark time, and we take cues from nature when we're in our practice and when we're in especially those sacred practices that we do every day. So I know I've been reflecting on this last year and what I've been up to and what I've accomplished. And it's so fun for me to go back and read my journal in particular. So if you haven't read your journal yet, if you keep a journal, great. If you don't keep a journal, here's my plug for starting one in 2026. But if you haven't gone back and kind of read where you've been this year, it's a really amazing practice to take on. So as we look at January, I'm just going to give you a little bit of a preview, and then we'll go into a little shorter class that really brings some Kriya and some movement, and kind of gives movement to the mood of the month. So coming up soon is the full moon, and the full moon is in a part of the sky called Ardra. This is in the constellation of Gemini, and this is a really intense spot. So we're going to be talking about what I'll call sacred rage. Maybe you've heard of this, right? So it's distinct from rage in general. So when we feel outraged or rage or anger, these are really intense emotions, right? And if we just like any emotion, if we discharge that motion, that energy in motion, just willy-nilly, without a direction, without a focus, right? Sometimes things can get out of hand. We can fly off the handle or whatever you say, right? So this month, and there's a lot of intensity just in the world in general. And so we're going to talk about how to focus that for good. And toward the end of the month, when we have the new moon, which is the dark moon, the new moon's in a really special part of the sky it's in Sagittarius. So totally different feeling than Gemini. Sagittarius has this like larger than life feel, and it's this constellation of victory and of success at all costs, specifically using teamwork. So we're kind of moving from this area of like intensity and, well, like I said, sacred rage. We'll go into that, and we're going to direct that in a really focused way throughout January. And then the idea is to move toward victory at the end. Not like the outcome that we want, right? Because we're always trying to unattach from outcomes, but really directing our intensity in the direction for the good of all concerned. Okay? So that's what we're going to get into. And then we're going to talk a little bit about planetary war as well. So, the word war, I think, means something different to everybody. There's a lot of war going on right now. But when we have planetary war, it means that two planets are coming really close in the sky, like really, really close. And so sometimes that creates a certain intensity. It affects us all differently. But because there's a weird amount of planetary war going on this month, we're going to be talking again about how to go into battle, how to take intensity, rage, anger, whatever it is, and how to direct that in the direction that we want to go. And one of the greatest examples of this is one of the greatest spiritual texts of all time, the Bhagavad Gita. So a little refresher on that if you've never heard of it. I'm just going to give you the gist because we're going to be working with this in class today. So in the Bhagavad Gita, this is, it's called, Bhagavad Gita is another way of saying like celestial song. So it's actually a song, and it's all about the main character, Arjuna. Arjuna is a warrior, and Arjuna is on a battlefield, and across the battlefield, his opponent is family members. And there's a long story about this, but for our purposes today, just know that his job as a warrior is to fight his family. Like that's what he has to do. And he is not feeling good about this. And he doesn't know how he's going to proceed. So his charioteer, Krishna, also his best friend, happens to be a really incredible spiritual teacher. And so Arjuna's like distraught. He's like, what do I do? And he has all this intensity, right? He has big feelings, big emotions. And he's like, what do I do? I'm just like despondent. And then Krishna, actually, the first thing, Krishna doesn't even say a word first. In the Bhagavad Gita, the first thing that Krishna does is he smiles. And this really shows us that, yes, there is intensity to life, but ultimately, we don't need to take everything so seriously, right? We can smile, we can learn to go with the flow, and we can unattach ourselves from outcomes. And the Bhagavad Gita is set on a battlefield. That's the setting of the entire story. And really the metaphor here is like, if we can apply the teachings of yoga on a battlefield, we can apply them anywhere. So that's what we're going to get into in class today. So all of that to say, let's start with a comfortable seat. So if you haven't grabbed your cushion yet, something to sit on, we're going to be kind of moving around the mat. But like if you don't have a mat right now, or you just want to be comfy, cozy, if you have a mug of tea or, turn the lights low, that's fine. That's the time of year we're in. So just honor that.